Welcome to the barn. My name is Joanne Knight. Today I want to talk to you just a little bit about sashing because a lot of times we may get quilts in that have sashing between the blocks and cornerstones. So I want to show you a little trick or two on that. So let's look at a couple of things on this quilt and the way that we would work with these sashings. This is one of the options here that I have shown for you. And it uses this pattern right here by Tammy Overland. What I did on this one was go into repeat patterns and I placed the pattern on the screen and I'm going to size the pattern for whatever height you need for your sashing. For this one, we're going to say that it's 2.5 inches. And let me go up to view and take off auto view all, and I'm going to go down to the total width for set total size, and we're going to say that this sashing is 12 inches in total width for one little section. And what you see is I get 4 repeats, which is an even number of repeats. So I'm going to say okay. I'm going to take the 2 repeats on the right and I'm going to hit the letter X on my keyboard and flip them horizontally. The end changes on the repeats, but if I select this first one and I do an order join, then this shows that the patterns are going to sew without stopping, and you can see that the start is on the left and the end is on the right. And this is the way that I came up with this sashing look right here. You would select these patterns and right click, go down to Save Pattern, or you can go to File, Save Pattern As, and place that pattern as a saved pattern. Then it would just be a matter of clicking it out in your sashing. So that's one way to do a sashing pattern. Another way, if I go to a different quilt group, sometimes designers will give you one repeat. For instance, this one by Laurie Thomas. I've got this one by Joyce Lundrigan. And I have this one, which is part of our skill builder patterns that we gave. And you see that with each of these, you have one repeat of the pattern. So I'm going to take this one by Joyce Lundrigan and I'm going to go to repeat patterns and I'm going to place one on the screen. And once again, I would size this pattern for the height that I need for my sashing, but we're going to stay with this height right here. You would go to set total size, and for instance, we're going to say that this particular sashing is 16 inches wide. So I'm going to enter 16 for my inches, move my mouse to the screen, and this is the really pretty sashing pattern that you come up with. Say OK. I would select this pattern because it is a point-to-point and you can see that it's on a 0 angle. I'm going to right-click and go to Save Pattern. CreativeStudio brings up the name of the pattern, but I would put 16 behind it because that tells me that I have done this for 16 inches. And now I'm going to do a Save and Close and add that to my project tab. Now it's just a matter of selecting that pattern, go to Draw Pattern, and click in your sashing to be able to place that pattern. And you can concatenate these, so it's not any problem to concatenate these patterns. Let me take this one more time. I'm going to go to Repeat Patterns and I'm going to place it on the screen, and I'm going to tell CreativeStudio to give me 12 inches in my total width. So I'm going to put in 12 and hit enter. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to save this one because I have this little boundary set up as 12 inches. So I'm going to put a 12 behind this. I'm not going to put it in my database, and I'm going to save and close. Now I have a pattern that is 12 inches. So I'm going to go to Draw Pattern, and I'm going to cheat and put my grid snap on. Left click and left click, and you see how pretty that goes in there and how nice that works. Some designers give you patterns that are already a certain length for you. Tammy Oberlin does that. She gives you patterns in different sizes. This one by Anita Shackelford, if I go to Draw Pattern and I left click on the side and I left click on this side, you can see that that pattern comes in at almost 1.5 inches tall. So that's a little pattern meant for little borders. Now let me show you this about cornerstones. Let's go back and take these out. And this is not going to be good in density, but I want to show you what it looks like. I'm going to take this point-to-point cornerstone pattern by Anita, and I'm going to go up and hold down the control key and select the 12-inch sashing that I just made. I'm going to go to Draw Pattern. I'm going to click the left side of the cornerstone, then the right side, then the sashing pattern, once again the left side and right side, and then the sashing pattern. And this is the look that you get. You would do this all the way across the quilt. Once you get that done and you're ready to do the vertical sashing, you would left click at the top of the cornerstone sashing, and you would left click the bottom, put your sashing in again, click again, and now you can see that forms a really pretty cornerstone pattern for you. Anita's got several of these that make a half of a cornerstone, and when you click back the opposite direction, they finish the cornerstone. So that gives you a really nice look, and the bonus is that it sews continuously. So that's one thing for you to look at. There are other patterns like this jazzed up feather pattern by Tammy Overland that will make its own cornerstone. For these, and it's obviously not sized right, but you'll get the idea, you're going to click in the center of the sashing, and when you click in the center of the sashing, CreativeStudio is then going to make the cornerstone for you. So you can see what happens when you get that look right there. And in that case, you don't need a cornerstone because you're just clicking the center. You have one that came with your free patterns called Echo Wave by Joyce that you can play with and be able to get that look. But the main thing that I wanted to show you in this little exercise is to take these patterns. This one by Laurie Thomas right here is really good for a triple sashing because it makes a diamond pattern in the middle sashing, and then it makes the curls in the top sashing and the bottom sashing. So it's really easy for you to quilt all three at one time. A lot of times people will put a 9 patch as a cornerstone, and then you've got these little bitty sashings. So there again, what I would do is take that pattern, go to Repeat Patterns, place one on the screen, go down to your total width and put in whatever the total width of your sashing is. Click OK. Select that sashing and right click and save the pattern, and now you've got a sashing that is a real easy click from side to side. to be able to do your quilts. So I hope that makes it a little bit easier for you in working out your sashings and gives you a couple of more options to be able to do for your quilts. Thank you.